Hey, thanks for tuning in to Current Events and Politics in the Cat. We talk about current events and politics without any liberal or conservative slant. Just an American slant. I also like to call it the All-American Show. And one of my favorite things to do is tear down propagandist political talk shows. Like Rush Limbaugh, who's on right now, who's talking about the Democrats and the media want to depress you. They want you to think that you have no chance to win so that you won't go and vote. Which is ridiculous. If you think your candidate is going to lose, then you want to go and vote. The only reason to not go and vote is if you think your candidate is going to win so easily, there's no point in you going to vote. To say that your candidate's getting crushed, to say that your candidate is going to lose, is only motivation to go and vote to make sure your candidate doesn't lose. That's what I'm talking about when I talk about Rush Limbaugh likes to gaslight you. It doesn't make any sense. It only energizes the base, only energizes those to go and vote. Especially the right. We'll prove you are going to lose. We'll show you. Of course the pollsters get it wrong when it's not in your favor. When the polls are in their favor, they'll talk about how great the polls are. Look at Trump's approval rating. They believe that poll. So when you're an extremist right-winger or left-winger, you engage in confirmation bias. So when the poll doesn't confirm your bias, well, then the poll is wrong. And when the poll confirms your bias, well, then the poll is right. That's the problem with being a partisan, especially an extremist partisan.
I have to be as objective here as I can.
He just admitted he's not objective. I have to be as objective as I can. He just admitted he can't be objective. Otherwise, why would you say, oh, I'll be as objective as I can? You'll always be objective. If you're a true American, you're always objective. He started out this segment talking about how they have to defeat the Democrats to preserve American culture and history. Ridiculous.
When he was president, just doesn't have it. You can just see it. He's not drawing crowds wherever he goes.
Talking about real history is not suppressing it.
It's just another.
Talking about how Christopher Columbus didn't set foot in the United States of America is not suppressing history. It's the truth.
Winning and winning big. That just doesn't compute. It just doesn't make sense. Thinking about joining Rush 24/7?
Yes.
If you become a member.
What I just said doesn't make sense. Tell them that they're going to lose, so they won't show up at the polls. It doesn't make any sense. You would show up at the polls, so you don't lose. And so I think we're going to see a lot more voter turnout because a lot of Democrats didn't vote in 2016 because they think, well, we got this in the bag. There's no reason for me to go and vote. Hillary's going to crush Trump, so why waste my time? Because in America, we make it extremely difficult to vote. You got to wait in line for hours. You got to take time off of your job or away from your job. Or in some states, you got to get an absentee ballot or a mail-in ballot. You got to get it notarized. You got to have a witness. You got to drop it off. We make it as hard as possible to vote. Predictions are that we're going to have a voter turnout near 70% or greater, which will be the greatest voter turnout in the United States of America since 1908. Think about that for a minute. The people in this country of voting age that are registered voters don't vote. We don't vote. Like the best we can possibly do is 70%. And that was 120 years ago that we managed to get 70% of the people to vote. We have one of the lowest voter turnouts in the entire world. The beacon of democracy and freedom, we don't exercise our right to vote. And it's understandable, isn't it? Because what are the choices? I mean, every 4 years we vote for a president, and our choices are two people from corrupt, mafia-like political parties. And you go, well, what's the point? Here's my choices: the Biden crime family or the Trump crime family. What? I mean, so you go, well, what's the point? What's the point in voting? Because they're all so corrupt. What's the difference? What was the last election? The Clinton crime family or the Trump crime family? Now, we love to make everything in this country a crime, but a lot of what they do is just engaging in what all of us do. Quid pro quo, nepotism, using whatever power or money you might have for your own benefit, taking advantage of situations for your own benefit or your own wealth. This is pretty typical American behavior. It's not limited to Trump or Clinton or Biden. Which is why I like to say, we don't have a leadership problem. We have a human beings problem.
It's going to escalate, and I'm very, very concerned about that. You are right. They're already planning it. They're already planning for there to be no announced winner on election night.
They, meaning the Republicans, meaning Trump, they're planning violence. Where does it come from? What are you talking about?
They've got
Gaslighting.
manuals here on how this is all going to go down on election night.
No, the Republicans aren't. The Republicans aren't preparing at all, right?
That's just icing on the cake.
Give me a break.
I mean, they fully expect things to not go well.
Fear tactics, whining and crying. That's the Democrat, the Republican propaganda machine. That's how they operate, through fear, scare tactics,
like you haven't seen.
just like what you just heard,
Concerns me is that we're not holding these people accountable.
and anger.
You know, how are
Angry.
these people getting off scot-free so far? And if they continue
Yeah.
to do this,
Why isn't Trump
how
doing
are they
anything
gonna hold
about
these
it?
people accountable? What are they
About
gonna do?
William Barr,
What
the
people
Attorney
are you
General.
talking about? Well, you know, Barr, they refused to press charges on or indict any of these people that have been under investigation.
Oh,
for
gee,
so
I wonder
very
why.
long with this coup and all this stuff. Oh, it's that.
I wonder why.
It is everything all
I wonder
together.
why.
It's so
Because
concerning.
they
What else do you have
can't.
to say? Enough is enough.
Because they can't.
Enough is enough. I know. I thought this was going to be that moment. I thought this was going to be the time that actually happened, this accountability.
Of course it's not going to happen.
This may be after the election.
They're all protecting one another. It's not going to happen.
After the election, if it's going to happen at all.
As ridiculous as him trying to convince you, if you're a Rush supporter and a Republican, that he's going to lock up Hillary Clinton. And what did he say after he won? What did Mr. Fake University Donald Trump say after he won during his victory tour? He said, you know, the crowd started chanting, lock her up, lock her up. And Trump says, oh, yeah, that's great. Plays great before the election. Now we don't care, right? Clearly they still care. He just used it to get elected. And no intention of locking up Hillary Clinton. None.
Is, you know, on the wrong side of things, and you know the whole election. Screw that. Look, we can't say, well, we can't let the cops go do their jobs because it's only going to confirm what the left
The majority
says.
of people
We
want
can't do
the
that.
police to
Law enforcement must
be
do
less
what
brutal.
Law enforcement does. They must be supported while they are in the process of doing it. Anyway, quick break. We'll be back and continually trying to suppress your vote. They're trying to dispirit you. They are trying to depress you. They're trying to make you think it's over.
There it is.
Same thing
Here's saying
happened in
again.
2016.
All right.
These margins
And all it
that they
did
are
was
reporting
motivate
by your
Republicans and Trump
meeting
voters to
are
vote.
designed to get you
So why would they do that?
depressed and down in the dumps,
Why would they do that?
and thinking that no matter what, you don't have a prayer. I'll just tell you one thing. If Texas were really tied, like
So
they're
what he's saying
is,
to you right now is that you're a quitter
guess where Biden would
and that you're going to fall for the propaganda
or somebody. They
of
just said
depressing you to the point where you won't vote. That's what he thinks of
if
you.
this were really in play, they'd have somebody
That's what he thinks of
and
you.
They don't. Texas is not in play for the Democrats. I don't care what these polling units are trying to tell you. I mean, Texas would be huge, folks, if they would flip Texas. And they're not going to flip Texas.
Would be a big deal.
And the evidence is October 27th.
So he just said Obama's in Florida. Why is he in Florida? Because we're told Biden has Florida in the bag. So why would he be in Florida if he has Florida in the bag?
In conjunction with the American greatness. And get this, Trump is up 5 in Florida, 49 to 44.
Yeah, they don't have Florida in the bag. Who even says that? Who says that?
They send the one to North Miami.
The one. Here, did you just hear what he said? They sent the one. That's Barack Obama. Their hatred for Obama has been building for 8 years and culminated in the election of Trump. They still talking about him. That's the hatred, folks.
Normal.
I'm not sure. Is he back on the show or is he still doing a commercial? I'm not sure.
I mean, it's
What I was saying, though, is
like,
before was the voter turnout in America is pathetic. That's depression, that's suppression, where they make you think that there's no point in voting because it's two crime syndicates that you're going to fall in line, right? The Republicans, whatever Trump says and does, that's what we're going to do. Doesn't matter what it is. Not going to criticize him, not going to tear away from him. Democrats do the same thing. How they rigged the election against Bernie in 2016 is a perfect example.
Not so driven and pulled apart by politics that families and neighbors no longer talk to each other. It's a return to days where people become friendly. Politics kind of slinks away in terms of importance. The economy reopens, schools reopen, suspicion of
Speaking of the economy,
as long as the American left is out there as they're constituted, that's never going to happen.
Listen to him say, got to be defeated, resoundingly defeated over and over and over again.
I'm telling you, you are one of these people longing for that return to normalcy where politics was not front and center in American life. Forget it. Did you see there's a story out there?
Anyway, economic growth for individuals in the middle class was slower for the first 3 years of Trump than it was for the last 3 years of Obama. Yeah. His barometer is the stock market because he's a billionaire. Doesn't care about growth within the middle class. It's been slower for the first 3 years of Trump than the last 3 years of Obama. That's a fact.
Happily and proudly doing so. This guy's a football player for the Arizona Cardinals, and he hunts down a bunch of Trump people and flips them off.
Oh, he acts like he hunted them down. He's gaslighting you right now. He's gaslighting you right now by saying he hunted them down. What a joke.
But my point is,
What a joke.
if you're longing for the day where politics is not part of football, where politics is not part of baseball, there's only one way that's going to happen, folks.
Oh, let me guess
And
which
it
way.
isn't by wishing it away. The
Trump
only
wins.
way that's going to happen is if these people on the left are routinely and continually politically defeated.
How about if you're defeated?
You can't just
Then will it
wish
stop?
things back to normal. They don't want things back to normal.
They're defeated
They
now.
want
They don't have the
everything
presidency. They don't have the Supreme Court. They don't have the Congress.
They have a post-election agenda.
They have the House of Representatives. That's it. They're already defeated. And this is what's happening. So what are you talking about?
The other punishment for
If
people
you
like
think
you
at all about what he's saying, you constantly say, what are you talking about?
The plans are very specific, sketching out activities even by date, using online.
Let me tell you how to defeat it. Ban political parties. And then we don't have to listen to extremists like this who see everything through the goggles of their right-wing extremism.
What kinds of actions these might be.
They gaslight and lie to you and say things like he just said, which doesn't make any sense. They're already defeated.
That sketches out their plans for right
And what did it do?
and attack
What did it do?
institutions
Didn't do anything.
in life until Biden is installed.
Didn't stop politics in sports. It enhanced it. So what are you talking about?
Trump declares victory. And that's going to mark the start of the coup. In other words, a Trump victory.
The only coup is the Republicans refusing to seat Obama judges and taking over the courts once Trump won. Just like they did with the Supreme Court. Over 100 judgeships were available when Donald Trump swore oath to office because the Republicans refused to fill judge seats during Obama's presidency. That's why Harry Reid had to invoke the nuclear option, because Republicans wouldn't vote for any Obama judges. They would rather the federal courts had no judges at all than allow Obama to appoint them. That's a coup.
The left already has plans
suppressing the vote. That's the coup.
And it's not some fantasy. After 4 years of nonstop interference with Trump's presidency by the Democrats, we know this is a hard reality. They're not going away. Trump wins, they're not going away, they're doubling down.
Oh wait, you just said if you defeat them, they'll go away. Now you're saying they'll double down. Which is it?
Part of me says they are putting
Which is it?
out there to scare
Can't
you.
be both. See, again, you listen to them and you think about it, you go, what? What you just said contradicts what you just said.
You're going to be in the middle of hell. We're going to be responsible. But if you let us win, if you back off, you don't vote for Trump, everything's going to be fine. You want peace? Let us win. There's more evidence. There's a group out there called Shut Down DC. Shut Down DC is vowing street action.
Any extremist fringe group and call them mainstream.
We can't anticipate exactly how Trump and his enablers will try to attack democracy.
They already have. I just told you how they've attacked democracy.
And wait. That's why we are making plans to be in the street.
Never in our lifetimes has a party been so obstructionist as the Republicans during Obama. Nothing but hatred for the man.
In the street.
And why is that?
Before the polls even close.
I don't know.
What this means is attempted mass intimidation and instilling public fear.
You mean like telling your base to show up at the polls and watch people vote?
Which in their fevered imaginations means any Trump victory at all. Any Trump victory at all is going to be considered illegitimate, folks. If he wins in a landslide, if he wins in the House and Senate, it's going to all be considered illegitimate. Trump is going to have cheated, he's going to have colluded, he's going to have meddled with the Russians or whoever, you name it. They've already set the stage for this. In their little organizational manual here, it says, Trump has shown he will stop at nothing to maintain his grip on power. Trump will not leave office without mass mobilization and direct action, meaning expect riots. Now, I'm just sharing with you what these groups are publishing themselves to their quote-unquote members, supporters, what have you.
Why is that
quote unquote? I'm just going to tell you what all this adds up to. They're not confident.
Nobody's heard of this group. He knows what you're talking about.
They're scared to death Trump's going to win, and they're setting the stage for declaring Trump illegitimate and actually running a coup rather than having fairly and squarely won an election.
Oh, I'm glad he said that. So here's the deal with why they want control of the courts. They cannot democratically, legislatively overturn Obamacare. So what do they want? They want the courts to do it. Isn't that the first thing Trump said? Well, I want to appoint Amy Coney Barrett so that we can finally overturn the Affordable Care Act, Obamacare. I should have done it in my Trump voice. It's fabulous. Listen, what I want to do. I got to work on the voice more, right? It's going to be the greatest. I want to appoint Amy Coney Barrett so we can overturn the Affordable Care Act, because they can't do it democratically, legislatively. They want the court to do it for them because they can't do it through democracy. That's why they want the courts. They can't stop abortion through democracy, so they want the courts to do it for them. This is imposing an agenda and making it look legitimate by having the courts rule in their favor. That's why they want control of the courts. Make no mistake about it. That's the coup. They can't get their agenda done democratically, so they want control of the courts. So the courts can do it for them. That's the coup, ladies and gentlemen. Period. Point blank. I mean, what else do you call it? You refuse to appoint Obama judges. You can't overturn the Affordable Care Act democratically through legislation. So let's get the courts to do it. We can't win enough elections. We can't get enough of our own members to vote to overturn. So let's get the courts to do it. Let's take control of the courts. And we'll have them do it for us. It's ridiculous. And to say the other side's running a coup? Give me a break. How can you listen to this and believe it? Take it seriously. That's a coup. That's a coup. Hey, what did he also say about appointing Amy Coney Barrett? I need her just in case, we lose the election and it has to go to the Supreme Court, so she can give me the victory. That's a coup. That's a coup. It's unbelievable. You take control of the courts to make what you're doing seem legitimate, to seem legal. That's a coup. Well, do you like what the Democrats did in impeaching Trump or not? That's not a coup. This is a coup. What I've just described to you, that's a coup. It's embarrassing. Can't understand all the people that fall for this stuff. It's a flaw of human beings, I guess, because it doesn't make any sense.